What's our first rule, SERE? Live hard, be hard, bro.
It's all fun until you realize what you're trying to do is build a shelter before the huge snowstorm gets here.
It boggles your mind, the desolation. It's nothing but a flat white sheet for as far as you can see.
Out there, it's just like, it's absolutely brutal.
You're so close to death in the Arctic environment that you really can't lean on any skill set other than experience.
I'm Jenna Biter, Coffee or Die. Welcome to the Arctic Circle.
We're 160 miles away from everything.
If you're on a plane that goes down over the Arctic and there's only ice around for as far as you can see, what do you do and how do you survive? That is exactly why BLAST exists, to teach service members how to survive in a barren Arctic environment.
Woo! It's gonna be a great day! Don't trip.
We're here in Kangerlussuaq, Greenland with the New York Air Guard's 109th Airlift Wing.
The Arctic, desolate, savage, remote, a wilderness of unending barren vistas.
Kanger is a small settlement of only about 500 people. It's a jumping off point for the 109th Airlift Wing's ski-equipped LC-130s. They fly resupply missions to the remote National Science Foundation camps across Greenland. While the Greenland flights are important, they also serve as practice for the 109th's mission to the other pole. Every winter, summer for the bottom of the world, the 109th flies resupply missions across Antarctica, just like they do in Greenland. Before the airmen can fly on Antarctica, they must undergo barren land Arctic survival training on the ice sheet.
So I'm a SERE specialist, which is to teach survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. We're going to take them out to a barren Arctic environment, and we're going to teach them everything they need to know about Arctic survival in case they go down. So it entails, shelter, water, food, understanding the limitations of your clothing, and truly experience, right? So just being out there and using the gear that you have and knowing what it can actually do.
I joined the military. I joined the Air National Guard up in Scotia, where we have the only 10 ski birds in all the whole world, which is awesome. It's a really high-tempo Air National Guard base because we have this Greenland mission and then the Antarctic one. Like, we're always working on these planes, and sheet metal mechanics in particular, like, we're always fixing holes.
I'm a pilot in the 139th Airlift Squadron, flying the LC-130. I was active duty Air Force for 12 years. It's the only unit in the DoD. It's the only ski-equipped medium to heavy airlifter in the world. So there's no one else that has any capability like this. It's wild, especially when you've been flying for a long time and it just feels so different. You don't have brakes because you're just sliding on the snow. Taxiing, you can't steer with the wheels, you have to steer with the power. The LC-130 is a basic crew of aircraft commander, co-pilot, flight engineer, sits between and just behind the pilots. Behind them sits the navigator, and then the other two crew members are the loadmasters. So everyone on the crew has a specific job, and it just takes the whole team working together to make sure that it happens safely.
Today, we're about to get into the classroom for barren land Arctic survival training before they actually head out to the ice sheet.
From October to January, freaking darkness.
In the Arctic kit here, we have a few items that they'll use in the event that they have to put the plane down and possibly survive. This is a Hilleberg tent. It'll sleep 4 people. There's going to be 2 in this kit. A stock pot that they'll use to generate water. Put snow in it and we'll melt it down to make water. They also have a parachute canopy that they'll utilize when they're out there to make a pair of snow house. They'll have some extra clothing, extra goggles, gloves. We instruct on all this stuff, how to utilize it, where it's at, what kits they're in, and what they're used for.
One of the beautiful things about Arctic Schoolhouse is we were established in 1947.
So we're one of the oldest Air Force schools.
This is Arctic clothing and equipment that will be worn by paratroopers for the northernmost parachute drop of a tactical unit. From Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the 82nd Airborne Division will travel by air to a point well inside the Arctic Circle.
75 years of Arctic experience.
Kangerlussuaq got its start as a U.S. air base known as Bluey West 8. In World War II, after the Nazis took over Denmark, Greenland, which is in the Kingdom of Denmark, actually became a de facto protectorate of the United States. Soon after, the U.S. military started building installations across the ice-covered island, including this military airbase. Bluey West 8 served as a stopover point between the United States and Europe during the war. It's really not unrealistic for planes to go down over Greenland. I mean, look at this. All around the coastline here, there's more than 50 flights that have crashed, and look how many right here, where we are in Kangerlussuaq.
When you see the ice sheet for the first time, you then realize that you are in the middle of nowhere.
The hardest thing for the students is definitely always the first morning. Getting out of that sleeping bag, back into the cold for that first time again. If they did something wrong the day prior, they're going to learn from that mistake the next day.
Man, I'm expecting to be very cold because I can't handle the cold super well.
In the Arctic, everything goes wrong, even for the U.S. military. Everything is broken and the weather is crap.
We had a prop oil light come on. So kind of did some troubleshooting on it. It went away as we're taxiing out. It came back on. It was intermittent. We had to bring back to maintenance, and when we shut down, we had another prop oil light come on. So maintenance fixed it up, and we went back out a second time. We were going to go right into Raven. Obviously, it didn't happen because the weather was too bad for us to even land. So had to circle for about 45 minutes and had to come back.
We would just have to try again tomorrow. The 4-day, 3-night course just shortened to 3 days and 2 nights. I'm sure the airmen were pretty happy about that.
Let's see, I got my cold weather parka, cold weather pants, and then I got like a Gore-Tex medium jacket and pants as well, go underneath that. Got multiple layers of thermals, which would be great, wool socks. Definitely got, headgear, hat, a neck gaiter, everything like that to kind of stay warm out there. Got my big boots to keep my feet warm too, and then my sleeping bag, and definitely got a lot of gear.
One of the stranger things that you need to get used to is sometimes the horizon can be almost impossible to see or completely impossible to see, and it'll just kind of look like you're standing in the middle of a ping pong ball.
So if you ended up out here in a survival situation, the first thing that you're going to do is prioritize and figure out, hey, what do I need to do, right?
So while we're out at camp, we basically go through a survival situation the way you would in an actual scenario.
So push the snow down and then roll really tightly. And then I like it center of my chest. That seems about right.
I'm gonna steal one of these.
I cut it open for all of us.
Hey, sir? Yeah.
Push it down. So you go through the top, and then you go back down to the bottom of the buckle. That'll seal it.
Even with the liners, it's so small.
So right now they're doing their immediate action shelter, so getting out of the elements, setting up the equipment that they have on the aircraft, and then starting to get at their survival needs, making water, tending to medical concerns, and honestly staying dry. So if you out here with improper training and improper equipment, you know, you're 30 minutes to an hour away from death, or at least losing some fingers forever.
This is going to start to cook through that, so I want to add a little bit of water first. Thank you. And then you start to add that snow. Where am I going to procure water from? What's better than snow?
Ice.
Ice. How do I identify old sea ice?
Blue.
Really deep blue or gray, thank you.
There's two types of blocks. Vertical cut blocks and horizontal cut blocks. In the end, they're exactly the same. Alright, there it is. Alright, work together, okay? You've got plenty of tools. Work rest cycles, digging is very tiring. It gets you nice and sweaty.
My detachment is stationed in Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska, and we're tasked with training customers that require Arctic survival specific training, you know, north of the Arctic Circle and beyond.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Get him. You can do like this. That way, just like the 66.
Most of your typical blocks that we're building are around 50 to 60 pounds. Sorry, someone's gonna ask me a question. I'm no weather meteorologist, but at blue skies, look that way, not blue skies. Look low,
like no horizon.
your horizon's going. Not good.
It's such a big operation to make happen.
Yeah.
Even getting 20 people on the ice, I mean, the camp cadre that's required and logistics support to get it done, it doesn't surprise me only 40 people this year will get this training.
So during the Cold War, Bluey West 8 actually got a new name, Sonderstrom Air Base, which served as the jumping off point to resupply radar sites, like this one here on the polar ice cap behind me. And they used Kangerlussuaq kind of as that home base. The weather we're getting right now is called a ping pong ball effect. If you can see, there's not really a distinction between the sky and the ground. Everything looks white, so it's like you're flying in a ping pong ball. So they really probably wouldn't be able to land right now. It seems like geopolitically, like the world's focusing on that even more right now. Like
Sure.
It's in the National Defense Strategy. Like, why do you think that is?
According to the strategy, right, the northern passageway is opening up, and it's maintaining it open throughout the winter months. So that becomes as strategically important as just moving logistics, if nothing else.
The northernmost part of the globe becomes increasingly important, for the shortest route from one camp to the other lies across the pole.
By now, I thought I had seen everything. Wrong. I had seen nothing. Day 3 was the day that all 3 LC-130s in Greenland decided to break. The entire day we waited, hoping to make it out to the ice sheet. But hope didn't get us anywhere that day. Not only did we not return to blast camp, but the 109th did not make any of its other scheduled flights either. But it was that day that I realized just how hard it is to get out to the ice sheet.
This is like the best part about Greenland. It's where we come in between flights or before flights and we get our food. Yeah, we run on hot dogs. There are Sandy dogs.
It's called a Sandy dog because this used to be Sonderstrom Air Base.
The record for Sandy dogs is 27 in a day, 12-hour shift. I average about 5 on a slow day.
I feel like it's like longer.
Hey. Here, where temperatures drop to 50 below zero and winds rise to 150 miles an hour gale force, where bright sun is abruptly succeeded by dense fog or blinding snow.
When we woke up on the second day, the temperature was about 5 degrees Fahrenheit and the wind chill was around -10.
In the tent, it was brutal because it was super cold and you could hear it. Like everything was blowing around and we thought we were gonna get like swept up and like blown away into the barren wasteland.
To build the fighter trench, you dig out a big hole and then you basically build a roof out of blocks of snow, which was a lot of work.
This is our fighter trench. Major Nagel over there, cuddled up nice.
Ow, not cuddled up nice.
Pretty comfy. We got a good amount of space. Nothing special. It's beautiful down here.
Building a snow trench is a tremendous amount of work. This is after our night in the trench. We're stuck right now.
Talk about signaling for recovery, using the flares that are in emergency kits to signal aircraft. The final day, the final part of the last day, we kind of build a community shelter.
Day 4. Blink and it's over. It was already time to pick up the blast students and drop off the second class.
Blast camp was cold. It just starts to feel colder and colder the longer you're there.
So there were definitely real world consequences, like even within that training environment. I don't want to go back out there, let me make that clear. But blast is a blast, so.
If for nothing else, it's good motivation to never be in that situation.
For 4 straight days, the 109th Airlift Wing tried flying Coffee or Die onto Greenland's ice sheet to observe its airmen at blast camp. But by the end of the trip, we only made it onto the ice for 5 or so hours. Believe me, it wasn't for a lack of trying on their part. The 109th was nothing but persistent. As it turns out, Murphy's Law and Mother Nature always get a vote north of the Arctic Circle. 50-year-old planes regularly break, and the weather on a 660,000 square mile ice sheet is rarely predictable. The more I think about it, the more I realize just how necessary the 109th Airlift Wing's Barren Land Arctic survival training is.